The morning light filtered through the glass walls of Varon Tower, casting geometric shadows across the polished floors. Cale Varon stood at his office window, watching the city below move like a living organism. At 38, he had built an empire in artificial intelligence that spanned 3 continents. His dark hair was slightly disheveled from running his fingers through it, a habit he had when troubled. Behind him, the door opened softly. Mira Solin entered carrying his morning schedule and a cup of green tea prepared exactly as he preferred. She had been his executive assistant for 2 years, quiet and efficient, with an almost supernatural ability to anticipate his needs before he voiced them. Cale turned to study her. Mira was striking in an unusual way. Her skin held a faint lavender undertone that she explained away as a rare genetic condition. Her silver-gray eyes seemed to hold depths he could never quite fathom. Today she wore a simple charcoal dress that complemented her slender frame, her dark hair falling in soft waves past her shoulders. "Good morning, Cale. Your 10 o'clock with the Berlin team has been postponed until tomorrow. The quarterly reports are ready for your signature." He nodded, accepting the tea. His fingers brushed hers briefly, and he noticed she pulled away slightly faster than necessary. "Mira, close the door please." Something flickered in her expression. Fear perhaps. She complied, then stood before his desk with her hands clasped, waiting. The auditors found something interesting. Cale kept his voice neutral. "Small transfers from our community outreach fund over the past 18 months. The pattern suggests someone with high-level system access." Mira did not look away. Her chin lifted slightly, accepting whatever came next with quiet dignity. "How much?" 300,000. Her voice was barely above a whisper. Every dollar went to families facing eviction, medical emergencies, educational needs. "I documented everything." Cale felt the familiar weight of betrayal settling in his chest. He had trusted her completely. Why would you risk everything for strangers? Mira took a breath, and when she spoke, her words carried an odd resonance. "Because I am not what you think I am, Cale. I came to this planet to help. My people believe that service to others is the highest calling. When I saw suffering I could prevent, I could not ignore it." Cale stared at her. "Your planet?" Mira stepped closer to his desk. She reached up and touched her cheek, and before his eyes, the subtle lavender undertone of her skin deepened to a rich purple shade. Her silver eyes seemed to glow faintly. "I am Valari. We have lived among humans for generations, hidden, helping where we can. Your company gave me the resources to make a real difference." Cale gripped the edge of his desk. His rational mind screamed impossibility, but he had always trusted his instincts about people. Mira had never given him reason to doubt her integrity, only her methods. "Show me everything." His voice came out hoarse. "The cases, the documentation, all of it." Mira nodded, relief flooding her features. She pulled out her tablet and began walking him through 2 years of secret compassion. Each case was meticulously recorded. A father of 4 who needed surgery. A grandmother about to lose her home. Students whose dreams hung by financial threads. As she spoke, Cale found himself watching her face rather than the screen. The passion in her voice, the light in those strange beautiful eyes. She was alien, literally not of his world, and yet she seemed more human than half the executives in his building. "The woman in case 14. Cale interrupted. "Elena Reyes. She works in our accounting department now." Mira smiled softly. "She was homeless when I found her. Now she manages payroll for 3 departments. She sends me anonymous thank you cards sometimes. She has no idea it was me." Cale stood and walked around his desk until he was standing directly in front of her. Mira looked up at him, vulnerable in a way he had never seen. "You could have asked me for help through proper channels. Would you have said yes?" If I came to the famous Kale Varon and asked for hundreds of thousands to help strangers, would you have approved it? The silence answered for him. He reached out, surprising them both, and touched her cheek. Her purple-tinted skin was warm beneath his fingers, softer than he expected. I should call security. I should report you to every authority that handles corporate theft and probably some government agency that deals with whatever you are. Mira did not pull away. I understand. But I am not going to do that. Kale dropped his hand, suddenly aware of how close they were standing. Not yet. I need time to process this. All of this. His phone buzzed urgently. A message from his security chief. Someone had tipped off Drake Holloway about potential financial irregularities. The vultures were. The next 3 days passed in a blur of strategy sessions and stolen moments. Kale and Mira worked tirelessly to prepare for Drake's inevitable attack. While their relationship deepened beyond professional boundaries, Drake Holloway announced his press conference for Friday afternoon. Kale's legal team scrambled to assess their vulnerabilities. The board demanded answers. Investors called with nervous questions. Through it all, Mira remained calm, her alien composure a steadying presence in the chaos. Wednesday evening found them alone in Kale's penthouse apartment. He had insisted she stay somewhere safe, and the security at his building was unmatched. What he had not admitted was that he simply could not bear to let her out of his sight. The board will sacrifice me to protect the company. Mira stated matter-of-factly, curled on his sofa with a glass of wine. Her purple skin glowed softly in the dim lighting. It is the logical choice. Kale sat beside her, close enough that their thighs touched. I will not let that happen. You might not have a choice, Kale. Drake has connections everywhere. If he exposes what I am, not just the funds but my true nature, it will destroy everything you built. Then we get ahead of him. Kale took her wine glass and set it aside, turning her to face him. We control the narrative before he can twist it. How? I have been thinking about this. What if we announce a charitable foundation before Drake's press conference? We frame your actions as an unauthorized pilot program that showed remarkable results. The board might accept restitution and a formal structure rather than prosecution. Mira considered this. That could work for the financial aspect. But Drake's investigators might have discovered more. What if they know about the Volari? Then we deal with that too. Kale cupped her face in his hands. I am not losing you, Mira. Not to Drake, not to the board, not to any government agency. Her silver eyes glistened. Why? You have known my true self for less than a week. Why would you risk your empire for me? Because in 5 days you have made me feel more alive than I have felt in 20 years of building that empire. Because when I am with you, I remember why I started this company in the first place. I wanted to create technology that helped people. Somewhere along the way, I forgot that. Mira leaned forward and kissed him softly. My people have a word for what you are describing. Soul binding. When two beings recognize each other across any distance or difference. Is that what this is? I do not know. She admitted. I never expected to find it with a human. But when I look at you, Kale, I see home. He pulled her into his arms, holding her tight against his chest. Her heart beat in a rhythm slightly different from human, faster and more musical. Stay with me tonight. He whispered into her hair. Not on the sofa. With me. Mira pulled back to look at him, her expression vulnerable. Are you certain? Once we cross that line, there is no returning to what we were. I do not want to return. I want to move forward. With you. She stood and extended her hand. Kale took it, letting her lead him to the bedroom. The city lights painted shifting patterns across the walls as they undressed each other slowly. Kale traced the subtle purple lines that decorated her skin like natural tattoos, learning the geography of her body. These marks. He kissed one that curved along her hip. What are they? Family lineage. Mira gasped as his lips moved lower. Every Valari is born with patterns that connect them to their ancestors. They are beautiful. You are beautiful. She pulled him up to kiss her mouth. Everything about you. Their lovemaking was unlike anything Kale had experienced. The Valari emotional bond opened fully, allowing him to feel her pleasure alongside his own. Every touch echoed between them, amplified and reflected until he could not distinguish giving from receiving. Mira cried out his name as they reached completion together, her purple skin glowing with bioluminescent intensity. Kale held her through the aftermath, both of them trembling with the power of their connection. I love you. The words escaped him without planning. I know it is too soon and completely insane, but I love you. Mira propped herself up to look at him, her silver eyes luminous in the darkness. Valari do not use that phrase. We say something that translates roughly as my soul recognizes yours. And Kale Varen, my soul has recognized yours since the first day I walked into your office 2 years ago. They made love again as the night deepened, learning each other's rhythms and responses. By morning, Kale understood that whatever happened with Drake, whatever the board decided, he would never let Mira go. His phone buzzed insistently. A message from his head of security. Drake moved his press conference up. It is happening in 4 hours. Mira read the message over his shoulder, her body tensing. Then we have. The afternoon sun cast warm shadows across Kale's private office as he and Mira reviewed her documented cases. Hours passed like minutes while she explained each family she had helped. Kale found himself drawn not just to the data but to the woman presenting it. This veteran named Samuel Torres. Kale pointed at the screen. He needed prosthetic surgery after a factory accident. You gave him 40,000. Mira nodded, her purple-tinted skin catching the light beautifully. He works at your Seattle facility now. His supervisor says he is the most dedicated employee they have ever hired. Kale leaned back in his chair, studying her. You transformed these people's lives. Not just gave them money but created actual change. Money is just a tool, Kale. Connection is what heals people. I learned that on my world before I came here. Tell me about your world. Mira hesitated, then sat beside him on the leather sofa. Their knees almost touched. Valera is beautiful. Purple skies, silver oceans. My people live for centuries. We developed technology far beyond Earth's capabilities, but we also developed something more important. Empathy as a science. We can sense emotions, feel what others feel. Is that why you helped those families? You felt their pain? Yes. Her silver eyes met his. And right now I feel something else entirely. The air between them thickened. Kale reached out and tucked a strand of dark hair behind her ear. His fingers lingered on her jaw. This is completely inappropriate. His voice was rough. You work for me. You stole from my company. You are literally an alien. I know. Mira did not move away. Do you want me to leave? No. The word escaped before he could stop it. Kale's phone shattered the moment. His security chief reported that Drake Holloway had hired investigators to dig into Varen Industries' finances. They had perhaps a week before the full scope of Myra's activities surfaced. I need to protect the company. Kale stood, pacing. But I also need to protect you. Mira rose gracefully. You do not owe me protection, Kale. I made my choices knowing the risks. That was before. He turned to face her. Before I knew who you really are. Before I understood why you did what you did. Before I started feeling things I have no business feeling. Mira stepped closer, placing her hand on his chest. Even through his shirt, her touch sent electricity through him. My people believe that connections between souls transcend species, planets, even logic. What we feel is not wrong, Cale. It is rare and precious. He covered her hand with his own. Drake will destroy everything if he finds the truth. Your secret, your people living among us, all of it. Then we fight together. Myra's eyes blazed with determination. I did not survive 300 years and travel across galaxies to surrender to a man like Drake Holloway. Cale blinked. 300 years? She smiled, and it transformed her face into something luminous. Valari aged differently. I am considered quite young among my people. You look about 28. I will take that as a compliment. Despite the crisis looming over them, Cale laughed. It felt foreign in his throat, a sound he had not made genuinely in years. Mira laughed too, and the tension in the room shifted into something warmer. Stay late tonight. Cale made the decision impulsively. We will review everything, build a defense strategy. Order dinner. Is that a professional request? Partially. Their eyes held. Understanding passed between them without words. That evening, they worked side by side as the city lights flickered on outside. Mira removed her blazer, revealing bare arms that shimmered faintly purple in the lamplight. Cale loosened his tie, rolled up his sleeves. The professional distance between them eroded with each passing hour. Around midnight, Mira stretched her neck, wincing at the tension. Let me. Cale moved behind her, his hands finding her shoulders. Mira gasped softly as he worked the knots from her muscles. Her skin was impossibly smooth beneath his fingers, warm with an inner heat that seemed to pulse with her heartbeat. Cale. Her voice was breathy. If you keep doing that, I cannot be responsible for what happens next. He leaned down, his lips brushing her ear. Maybe I do not want you to be responsible. She turned in his arms, her silver eyes dark with desire. This will change everything between us. Everything already changed the moment you showed me who you really are. Their lips met softly at first, testing, questioning. Mira tasted like honey and something exotic he could not name. Her fingers tangled in his hair as the kiss deepened, years of professional restraint dissolving in seconds. Cale pulled her onto his lap, her legs wrapping around him as she pressed closer. Her purple-tinged skin flushed darker with arousal, beautiful and otherworldly. He traced his fingers down her spine, feeling her shiver. You are extraordinary. He murmured against her. The next hours were chaos. Cale's legal team convened in the main conference room while he and Mira worked frantically in his office. They had one chance to outmaneuver Drake, and failure meant losing everything. I have an idea. Mira looked up from her tablet. But you will not like it. Tell me. I leave. Disappear completely. My people have protocols for this. I can be relocated to another identity in another city within 12 hours. Drake loses his target, the board loses their scapegoat, and you survive intact. Cale crossed the room in 3 strides, grasping her shoulders. Absolutely not. Cale, be reasonable. Your company, your employees, thousands of families depend on Varan Industries staying solvent. One person's freedom is not worth destroying all of that. You are not one person to me. His voice was fierce. You are everything. If you leave, what exactly am I saving this company for? Myra's eyes filled with tears. You cannot mean that. We have known each other truly for less than a week. I have known you for 2 years. I just did not understand what I was seeing until now. He pulled her close, pressing his forehead to hers. Last night changed me, Mira. The bond we share, the way you opened yourself completely to me, I cannot go back to being the man I was before. What are you proposing? We fight. Together. I call an emergency board meeting right now, before Drake's press conference. I present your documentation, show them the return on investment, propose the charitable foundation. If they reject it, I resign. You would give up your company? I would give up anything for you. Mira kissed him hard, pouring 2 years of hidden longing into the embrace. When they separated, her expression held new determination. Then let us fight. But Cale, if the board discovers what I truly am, then we deal with that together too. The emergency board meeting convened 90 minutes before Drake's scheduled press conference. Cale stood at the head of the table with Mira beside him, refusing to hide their solidarity. Ladies and gentlemen, I know you expected damage control today. Instead, I am proposing something different. Cale activated the presentation he and Mira had built. For the past 18 months, my assistant conducted an unauthorized experiment in targeted philanthropy. The results are unprecedented. He walked them through case after case. Families stabilized. Veterans healed. Students graduated. Small businesses thrived. The data was irrefutable. Miss Carter's methods were unorthodox and violated corporate policy. However, the outcomes demonstrate something remarkable. Strategic compassion generates measurable returns, not just social good but actual business value. Margaret Chen, the board chair, studied the presentation thoughtfully. What are you proposing, Cale? The Varon Foundation. A formal structure to continue this work legally and transparently. Miss Carter would lead the initiative. We announce it today, before Drake can spin his narrative. And the $300,000 already spent? Cale did not hesitate. I will personally reimburse the company from my own accounts. Murmurs circled the table. Richard Preston, the most hostile board member, shook his head. This is too convenient. We are supposed to believe embezzlement is acceptable if the outcomes are positive? I am not asking you to accept embezzlement. Cale kept his voice steady. I am asking you to recognize that sometimes the right thing looks wrong on paper. Every person Mira helped is a human being whose life improved because someone cared enough to act. And your personal relationship with Miss Carter? Preston's tone dripped implication. Do not think we have not noticed. Mira stepped forward before Cale could respond. Mr. Preston, my relationship with Mr. Varon developed only after my actions were discovered. Whatever you think of my methods, I did not manipulate him emotionally to avoid consequences. I was fully prepared to face prosecution. Then why are you still here? Because I asked her to stay. Cale moved to stand beside Mira, their shoulders touching. Because she showed me something I had forgotten. This company was never supposed to be just about profit. My father built it to make a difference in people's lives. Somewhere along the way, I lost sight of that. The room fell silent. Then Margaret Chen spoke. I knew your father, Robert. He would have done exactly what Miss Carter did, probably with even less documentation. She looked around the table. I move to accept Cale's proposal. The Varon Foundation launches today. Miss Carter leads it. All in favor? Hands rose around the table. Even Richard Preston, grudgingly, raised his. Cale felt Myra's hand slip into his, squeezing tight. They had won. Now they just had to survive Drake Holloway. Drake Holloway's press conference began at exactly 3 o'clock. Cameras flashed as he took the podium, his expression grave with manufactured concern. Today I must share disturbing information about Varon Industries' financial practices. But before he could continue, his aide rushed forward and whispered urgently in his ear. Drake's confident expression faltered. Cale had timed his own announcement perfectly. At 2:45, Varon Industries released a comprehensive press statement detailing the Varon Foundation, complete with case studies, outcome data, and Cale's personal reimbursement of all unauthorized funds. The narrative shifted instantly. Drake found himself attacking a company that had just announced a major charitable initiative. His accusations of embezzlement rang hollow against stories of veterans saved and families stabilized. Reporters began asking Drake uncomfortable questions. Why was he attacking philanthropy? What were his real motivations? The press conference devolved into chaos. Cale watched the coverage from his office with Mira beside him, their hands intertwined. "We did it," she breathed. "I cannot believe we actually did it. We make an excellent team." Cale pulled her into his lap. The human billionaire and the alien philanthropist. Mira laughed, the sound musical and free. "What happens now? Now we build something meaningful. The foundation, yes, but also us. Whatever this is between us." She cupped his face in her hands, her purple-tinted skin warm against his jaw. "I have lived 3 centuries, Cale. I have seen civilizations rise and fall, crossed the void between stars, experienced wonders beyond human imagination. But nothing has ever made me feel the way you do. How do I make you feel? Like I finally belong somewhere." He kissed her deeply, trying to convey through touch what words could not express. That evening, they returned to his penthouse. The crisis had passed, but they both knew larger conversations awaited. Myra's true nature remained secret, but secrets had a way of surfacing. "There is something I need to show you," Mira said softly as they stood by the floor-to-ceiling windows. "My true form. You have only seen me with the barest hints of what I actually look like. Show me." She stepped back and closed her eyes. The change happened gradually. Her skin deepened from lavender tint to rich violet. The elegant patterns along her body glowed with soft bioluminescence. Her silver eyes became luminous, almost ethereal. She was unmistakably alien, unmistakably beautiful. Cale approached her slowly, reverently. He traced the glowing patterns on her arms, watching them pulse in response to his touch. "You are magnificent. I was afraid this would frighten you." "Nothing about you frightens me, Mira. Not what you did, not where you come from, not what you look like. I love all of you." Tears streamed down her purple cheeks, luminescent like liquid starlight. "My people will want to meet you eventually. When a Valari bonds with someone, the family must acknowledge the connection. Then we will deal with that when it comes." He pulled her close, her glowing skin warm against his body. "For now, I just want to be here with you." They made love with Mira in her true form, the experience transcending anything physical. Her bioluminescent patterns responded to their passion, creating shifting auroras across the darkened room. The emotional bond between them deepened until Cale felt her very essence intertwining with his. Afterward, lying tangled together in sheets that glowed faintly purple, Cale traced lazy patterns on her back. "Move in with me." Mira propped herself up. "Is that wise? The board might not have prosecuted me, but my living with the CEO will raise questions. Let them question. I am done hiding, done pretending that profit matters more than connection. You changed me, Mira. For the better. The foundation launches next month. There is so much work to do. Then we will do it together." He kissed her forehead. "Every challenge, every triumph, every impossible day. Together." Mira settled back against his chest, her luminescent skin slowly fading back to its subtle lavender tint as she relaxed. "I spent 3 centuries searching for purpose, Cale. Traveling between worlds, helping where I could, never staying long enough to form real bonds. I came to Earth expecting just another temporary stop. And now? Now I have found something worth staying for. Someone worth staying for." Outside, the city lights sparkled like earthbound stars. Inside, a human and an alien lay wrapped around each other, their futures now impossibly intertwined. The challenges ahead were immense. Eventually, others might discover Myra's true nature. The Valari Council would demand answers. Drake Holloway would certainly try again. But none of that mattered in this moment. What mattered was the rhythm of 2 hearts beating in synchronization, the warmth of bodies pressed close.